Swamp Funk DJ. Active Moors, more active than the dead, dumb, deaf, and blind. Civil leader more tools. Now, I truly believe that these people whom I referred to, which of course have higher ups. You go up the chain, or as you descend into the debauchery of what they are all about, what they do behind the scenes, what Jeffrey Epstein was so graciously attempted to share with the world on the record, for the record, before they disappeared him and called it a self-deleting episode. If I remember correctly, they say he self-deleted, Jeffrey Epstein, Epstein Island. Okay, a place where people are like Trump, Donald, the president of the U.S. Corporation called America, of America, right? Sean Puffy Combs, Jacob the Jeweler. These are the type of people that have allegedly, well, we do see photographs. The photographs look like the people they say they are. So these powers that were being antagonistic towards myself, everywhere that I went, when I left Atlanta / Decatur, Georgia, I noticed something, a pattern, much like the pattern that had already taken place in Atlanta / Decatur. Let's talk about how certain individuals, because Atlanta is the world, the Atlanta airport is the I forgot how you say that, but that airport, if you had to transfer to another flight, many times you would have to get off in Atlanta, no matter where in the world you came from. Atlanta airport. They do a lot of flight transfers in Atlanta airport. Sometimes that flight may be delayed, and you may have to find a place to hold up until a flight can come, and they'll notify you where you can catch whatever flight at concourse such and such. Now, with that being said, there are people from all around the world in Atlanta in this time frame I'm talking about. The late 80s, early 90s. There were already people making entreaties to me to come to Texas, come to Cali, come to New York, come to New Jersey, come to Tennessee, Gary, Indiana, Jamaica, on and on and on. So I had a lot of contacts. And I had already started to notice, if you pay attention to the timeline, I always talk about that timeline, the old timeline. Yeah, it never fail you. You get you a line and you make some dashes on that line, vertical dashes, to designate a year. You can go every 5 years, you can go every year, 5, 10 years, whatever. And you have your little notepad right beside that, because you won't be able to fit everything on that timeline. It's not enough space. So you have a notepad, right? And what you would have to end up doing is making several timelines using the same time periods, but different things that'll be written on that timeline to point at that time period. Because you can't fit it all on one timeline. It's too much. Too much information. So I noticed everywhere I went, which was not many places. I was a young man. I was a teenager. Teenagers usually don't venture far away from the parents and the grandparents, aunts, uncles, and all that. Not too far. Foster home or something like that. Adoptive parents. Because we don't have much but a bike, a skateboard, or something like that. So these de facto government agencies and agents, they have people that they recruit of all ages that they will utilize for the person that is in some designated area. You have a school, you tend to go to the same school. The same religious organization has a one building or 2 or 3 buildings. You go there, and then you're home. You only, maybe mom and daddy don't stay together, so you bounce around between mom and daddy. If you got both grandparents, ain't but so many places you going. So in these places, in these areas, they have quite a few people that they can enlist to get near you and elicit information, solicit things and whatnot to get to when they're conducting espionage type of operations. And I noticed before I left in 1993, Quinzo and myself, right around that time period that we made that music, it would talk about the trouble that the I Refuse boys got in. Then you had certain names that I honestly can't remember. I probably wouldn't have said them anyway, but I honestly can't remember the names. But these names were people who had been caught up in the latest sweep. Fulton County, Atlanta Police Department, DeKalb County /DAD, GBI. And what they all had in common was not only that they had money, they would go get money one way or another. They would not allow the word no to stop them. We ain't understand all that money ain't yours. That when me and such took an oath and swear, never would we talk, never would we tell. So when they pulled up, bump and rock the bell, we took what we wanted and left them quiet as hell. What you nigga know about the dirty South? This what was going on, definitely in 91. God bless the dead. He transitioned. May he sleep in peace. DeAndre Stevens of Queen City /DAD Peaches of Atlanta fame used to be 10-toed down around the time Nard had that root beer Mercedes drop top coupe with the gold Mercedes emblem on it. Almost bowling ball root beer with flake. If I can remember correctly, I think it had flake in it. DeAndre Stevens, Slick Larry, may rest in peace, sleep in peace. Slick Darrell, Slick Cole, may rest in peace. Cole and Toad. We'll be out there, and they were discussing some of the ones who had just got caught up in that sweep. And some of my best game I ever got out the streets came from hanging right there, top of the hill, right? Top of the hill, middle top, a little past Spanky House. And up there top with Penny Lover and them and Big Daddy Kane, them used to be by the wall. They just about to knock the wall down. Soon they gonna knock it down. The wall between Gene Liquor Store and top of the hill. The wall. Now, that time period is right around the same time period. My voice traveling like a mother. When Ma, Joe Sean, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, an alumni from college. It used to be West Georgia College, Georgia's best kept secret, not West Georgia University. Mark I met on the dance floor at a function, probably Omega Center or something like that, with the Q. We used to party with the Qs. Me and Cavalier Incorporated, DNA. We skipped school, let's do some boosts, and whatnot. And I met Wheelchair Ma, and I insisted to his cousin that I push his wheelchair around. I kind of muscled my way in and So well, if you that serious about it, go ahead. And you know, I just had I met him, I liked him right away, and I was hurt that he was put in a wheelchair. You know, game recognized game, you know, player from player to player. I seen, boy, that might cause the story is that he was hit by a stray bullet in the parking lot of a club at night. A nightclub. I said, man, that probably was it. That probably was on point, on purpose. Player haters. I said, one look at I know he's a player. He was such a player that a lot of his females stayed with him, even in a wheelchair. Even as a paraplegic, he was still pulling hold. And the hold stayed down. So eventually, after a while, I meet Mac, somebody I don't know. Mac is a very, 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 very important person to me because Mac can finance whatever I have to do in the studio. Soon after seeing him like 2 times, I think that's Atlanta. Don't quote me on that. That could have been SWAT. I think that was Atlanta though. So Fulton County, GBI, no, they kicked his door in and grabbed and snatched him, took him to jail. After like that second time. And he got some time. And even then, I was suspicious about that. He was just introduced to me as a person having much money. And by now, we pushing like a year. I think we over a year now. I'm not sure about that. Because I didn't go back to school. It's hard to calculate how that school year went. What was supposed to be my sophomore, you do freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, 4 years. I think that was supposed to be my sophomore. I'm saying it correctly. But I didn't go back. I was paper chasing. I was working at the restaurant, did a little horticulture with a couple of companies. At least one company. I think it was 2. Definitely one. Because one of my managers at the restaurant, he started his own lawn company too. So anyway, I was paper chasing. And everybody and their mama was like, when y'all gonna do something with that music? When in my book, we did something. We released it. That's number 1. And I was saying it before then, in the 80s, and I'm saying it now. Your core fan base is the blood of that monster you build. You gotta have blood to survive. A living organism gotta have blood if it's a living organism that bleeds. Your core fan base is everything. With them, you can do no wrong until you start doing wrong. Long as you got them, you got a career. And they need to know you and what you do. That's why I was on Slim So Heavy. The next target. From that time period, we just talked about the I Refuse boys and other people in Atlanta. I can't remember the name. I remember Mac though. And this was a little after that other sweep I was talking about, what Slick Larry and them was talking about. Slick Cole and all of them were talking about, right? So now, rest in peace, Aunt Lou. Now, here we go. I left because it became obvious in 1992 now, we're in 92, it became obvious that the powers that were being antagonistic towards a Negro had become way more antagonistic towards a Negro because this Negro talked about message to the black man. Peace be upon the one. You know that's a throw to a Moor that lived about 15 to 1700 years ago. Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If you don't want to say it in Arabic, you say peace be upon him. So they know I'm propagating Islam, but if you're propagating Islam, you are standing on your square, and Islam raises by degrees. And they know it was only a matter of time before I started spitting that spit that they had just almost successfully, not quite, Not quite. I can't even say successfully because Public Enemy was still a hot item. Brand Nubian. You had exclaimed. Now all of this in the arena of entertainment. You had edutainment with Krishna, KRS-One. With all of this, D-Nice and all, and Melody, with all of this going on, they could not foresee a time where they successfully kind of smothered that out. The battle was on. It was raging on to get the higher minded, the talented Timothy Taylors to be replaced by the talented Tim. Boule, sellout, infiltrators, hip-hop police. Soon is going to become a term you hear thrown around about the 95, 96, but we still in 92. So you're going to have your industry plants more so than ever. And some of them that they're claiming to be today, that they're accused to be industry plants now, were in the industry then. Jack the Rapper, How Can I Be Down, Backstage, the hotel lobby, the after party, the party after the party. They were functioning then. I saw pictures of Sean Carter, who they claim is a plant, wearing truck jewelry, fly like a hip hopper, you know, with the low fade or whatever, with the little parts in his head and all that, you know. And I read that he was being groomed by none other than somebody from the Juice Crew, Cold Chillin' Records. So they were there. I mean, in the place to be. Yes, sir. They were there. So at this time, when they come south, they were the hip hop. If they coming from the tri-state area, most definitely. Then you had the East Coast just coming up by way of what NWA, Ice-T, and Too Short did, and on the heels of that. All of this is still the heyday of those artists I'm naming. They still making money. They still on the radio. Videos still coming out, new albums coming out, all this kind of stuff. Collab and all this. So now, I leave the Atlanta/Decatur area and the state of Georgia, and I go to vacation. Came on vacation, left on probation. Because that same cabal that hunted me down in Georgia began to hunt here, where I'm at now in this state. Florida, land of the flowers. Now, while I'm gone from Georgia, a key player like Mac, I Refuse Boys, and all the other people, I can't remember the name, I ain't lying. A key player, he gets murdered. When the state finally went to trial, they purposely made a mistake so that only 20 years later, they would so-called, quote unquote, have to release them because they violated their rights through some type of preliminary issue or procedural issue or whatever. So they snuck and gave them 20 years, roughly, instead of life or death. Why? Because that person they killed was somebody very important to the movement. They were very important to me. See, anybody that looked like they'd even look at me and respect me and listen to me and talk to me and build with me the way Malcolm and Martin and Sam Cooke, okay, Jim Brown, the way they got together, Regina King, she came out with that movie where they filmed at the Hampton houses over there. We call it the Hampton House. It used to be a hotel where they met up and all that. She something about a night. One night in Miami, something about the name of the movie Regina King came out with. See, when you do this, and I just made an upload about our Prentice Carter, John Huggins. Okay. And I think I name drop and mention Fred Hampton. These are members of the Panther Party. And I was saying, no, I don't think I included the part about that last upload, about 75 Panthers consequently were like arrested, something like that, on the heels of them actually being the victims of what they think is a CIA/FBI assassination attempt, which took the lives of Bunchy Carter and John Huggins. Ron, I think, Karinga of Organization US or US, one of the other black activists in the student body group, that group over there in UCLA. This was 1969. They suspect he had something to do with it. And of course, I think I mentioned the name Claude, not Mussup, but Claude Hubert, I think. The Steiner brothers, George and Larry, and that little boy, he was a YO. Donald Hawkins, I think his name was. Right? And they think an Elaine Brown or somebody was used to start a little verbal altercation of the Black Panthers, Elaine Brown, and I think that's when Bunchy Carter and your boy John Huggins spoke up. And they claim he made some derogatory statements toward, I forgot his name already, the Organization US leader. I just said his name, I forgot already. Don't want to say the wrong thing. So here we are dealing with 1991 and 2 and 3. Then we go into 94, 95. So I can't say exactly when they murdered that man, Derek DeAnthony Brown, Scooby Brown. But I left in 93. I did a bid from 94 to 95. That's when I heard from sometime in 94, sometime in 95. I think it was 95 when I finally found out. Now you go from 95, matter of fact, 94. When they locked me up, on the heels of me, they locked the only CEO in Miami who was about to put me down in the rap game. And that's Sweets, of Sonny and Sweets fame. Sonny, Sundog, the other one, already had half of the Poison Clan, which is Debonair and I think Drugsy. Pick it up. Boom, boom. I'm laughing at Jordan because he can't toss it. Right? Power moves being made already. Broken English clique about to come together. Jasmine and Mackey about to form Broken English clique soon. As a matter of fact, when I left, they had already done that. When I left the state, they done that. They did that they were working on while I was in college, actually. And when I came out and didn't go back, came out for the summer, they was working on that. Soon, Mac 10 gonna drop the album on me, some flyer CDs and whatnot, posters, and I got that, right? That's the time I first heard DOS Effect. They want effects. Around 92. Spice One. Money Gone. Then came the whole album with the Trigger Got No Heart is on the album. Then came the whole album. Top notch. One of the best that ever done, especially back then, one of the best that ever done it. I'm at 24 minutes and some seconds. I'm signing off for right now.